Have you ever had a feeling deep down in your gut that something just didn't feel right? Or maybe you've experienced a strong sense of intuition guiding you towards a certain decision or action. These gut instincts are powerful signals that we should pay attention to, but all too often we dismiss them or talk ourselves out of listening to them. Today I want to share with you 4 gut instincts that you should never ignore. These instincts are like an internal compass guiding you towards the right path and helping you navigate through life's challenges. By tuning into these instincts and trusting them, you can make better decisions, avoid potential pitfalls, and ultimately lead a more fulfilling life. The first gut instinct you should never ignore is the feeling that something isn't right in a situation or relationship. Maybe you've started a new job, and despite everyone else seeming happy and content, you can't shake the feeling that something is off. Or perhaps you're in a relationship, and even though your partner treats you well, there's a nagging sense that it's not the right fit for you. When you have this gut instinct, it's important to pay attention to it. Don't dismiss it as mere paranoia or overthinking. Your intuition is picking up on subtle cues and red flags that your conscious mind may not be fully aware of. It's like an early warning system, alerting you to potential problems or issues that could arise down the line. So if you find yourself in a situation where something just doesn't feel right, take a step back and assess it objectively. Ask yourself what specifically is causing that unease. Is it the people involved? The work environment? The values or goals that don't align with your own? By identifying the source of your discomfort, you can make an informed decision about whether to address the issue head-on or consider making a change. Remember, staying in a situation that constantly triggers your gut instinct is like swimming upstream. It's exhausting, and it rarely leads to long-term happiness or success. Trust your instincts and have the courage to make the necessary changes, even if it means stepping out of your comfort zone. The second gut instinct you should never ignore is the feeling that you're meant for something more. Do you ever have a deep, unshakable sense that you have a greater purpose or calling in life? Maybe you've been working in a certain field for years, but there's a persistent voice inside telling you that you're destined for something different, something that truly sets your soul on fire. This gut instinct is your inner wisdom urging you to pursue your passions and live a life that is authentic to who you are. It's the voice that whispers you have unique gifts and talents to share with the world. Don't settle for a life of mediocrity or unfulfillment. Too often we ignore this instinct because we're afraid of change or we feel pressured to follow a certain path that others have laid out for us. We convince ourselves that our dreams are unrealistic or that we don't have what it takes to pursue them. But let me tell you something, your dreams are valid and you have every right to go after them. When you have the gut instinct that you're meant for something more, start exploring what that something more might be. What activities or pursuits light you up and make you lose track of time? What problems do you feel passionate about solving? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Don't be afraid to take small steps towards your dreams, even if you can't see the entire path ahead. Trust that your gut instinct will guide you in the right direction, and have faith in your ability to overcome obstacles and create the life you truly desire. The third gut instinct you should never ignore is the feeling that someone isn't being entirely truthful or authentic with you. In our interactions with others, whether it's in personal relationships or professional settings, we sometimes get a sense that something is off, that someone's words don't quite match their actions, or that they're hiding something from us. This gut instinct is your intuition picking up on subtle inconsistencies or red flags in someone's behavior. It's the feeling that there's more beneath the surface than what they're presenting to you. When you have this instinct, it's crucial to pay attention to it and trust your judgment. This doesn't mean jumping to conclusions or accusing someone without evidence, but rather being mindful and observant of their behavior and communication. If someone consistently says one thing but does another, or if they seem evasive or defensive when asked simple questions, those are potential signs that they may not be being fully honest with you. It's important to approach these situations with care and discernment, but also with a healthy dose of self-protection. Remember, you have the right to surround yourself with people who are genuine, trustworthy, and transparent. If your gut instinct is telling you that someone isn't being authentic, don't ignore it. Have open and honest conversations, set boundaries when necessary, and prioritize relationships with those who consistently demonstrate integrity and reliability. The fourth and final gut instinct you should never ignore is the feeling that you need to take action on something, even if it scares you. Have you ever had a powerful urge to do something, but the thought of actually doing it filled you with fear or uncertainty? Maybe it's quitting a job that's no longer fulfilling, starting your own business, or having a difficult conversation with a loved one. This gut instinct is your inner wisdom nudging you out of your comfort zone and towards growth and transformation. It's the voice that says you can't stay where you are forever. It's time to take a leap of faith and trust in your abilities. When you have this instinct, it's easy to let fear hold you back. You might worry about failing, making the wrong choice, or facing disapproval from others. But here's the thing: growth and comfort rarely coexist. If you want to evolve and reach your full potential, you have to be willing to embrace discomfort and take bold action. So when your gut instinct tells you to take action on something, even if it scares you, listen to it, break down the steps into manageable pieces and focus on one step at a time. Surround yourself with supportive people who believe in you and your dreams. And most importantly, trust in your own resilience and ability to handle whatever challenges come your way. Remember, every successful person you admire has faced fear and taken risks. They've had moments of doubt and uncertainty, but they chose to listen to their gut instincts and take action anyway. And that's what sets them apart, their willingness to trust themselves and step into the unknown. As I wrap up this speech, I want to leave you with a final thought. Your gut instincts are a powerful tool for navigating through life's challenges and opportunities. They are your inner compass, guiding you towards the path that aligns with your deepest values, desires, and purpose. But here's the thing: gut instincts are like muscles. The more you use them, the stronger and more reliable they become. So start paying attention to those subtle feelings and hunches. Give yourself permission to trust your intuition, even if it goes against what others are telling you. And when you do listen to your gut instincts, be prepared for magic to happen. You'll find yourself making better decisions, attracting the right people and opportunities into your life, and feeling a deep sense of alignment and fulfillment. So my challenge to you today is this: listen to your gut instincts, trust them, act on them, and watch as your life unfolds in beautiful and unexpected ways. Remember, you have a unique purpose and set of gifts to share with the world. Your gut instincts are there to guide you towards that purpose every step of the way, so don't ignore them. Embrace them and let them lead you to a life that truly sets your soul on fire. Let me share a personal story with you about a time when I ignored my gut instincts and the lessons I learned from that experience. Many years ago, I was offered a job opportunity that seemed too good to be true. The salary was higher than anything I had ever earned before, and the company had a reputation for being a leader in its industry. On paper, it looked like the perfect next step in my career. But something didn't feel quite right. During the interview process, I noticed that the hiring manager seemed more interested in my ability to work long hours than in my actual skills and experience. The company culture felt intense and competitive, with little emphasis on work-life balance or employee well-being. Despite these red flags, I convinced myself to ignore my gut instincts. I told myself that I was just being overly cautious and that I should jump at the chance to advance my career and increase my earnings. So I accepted the job offer and started my new role with enthusiasm and determination. But it didn't take long for me to realize that my gut instincts had been right all along. The work environment was toxic and stressful, with constant pressure to meet unrealistic deadlines and expectations. My colleagues were more focused on outshining each other than on collaborating and supporting one another. And despite the high salary, I found myself feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from my true passions and values. I stuck it out for a year, telling myself that things would get better if I just worked harder and proved myself. But the longer I stayed, the more drained and unhappy I became. My physical and mental health started to suffer, and I found myself dreading going to work each day. Finally, I reached a breaking point. I realized that no amount of money or prestige was worth sacrificing my well-being and happiness. So I made the difficult decision to listen to my gut instincts and leave the job, even though I didn't have another one lined up. It was a scary and uncertain time, but as soon as I made the decision, I felt a sense of relief and liberation wash over me. I knew deep down that I had made the right choice, even if it meant taking a step back in my career and facing some financial challenges in the short term. Looking back on that experience now, I realize how much I learned about the importance of listening to my gut instincts. I learned that no matter how good an opportunity may look on the surface, if it doesn't align with my values and priorities, it's not the right path for me. I also learned that trusting my intuition is a skill that requires practice and courage. It's not always easy to go against the grain or make decisions that others may not understand or approve of. But the more I practice listening to my gut instincts and acting on them, the more confident and empowered I feel in my choices. Since that experience, I've made it a priority to check in with my gut instincts regularly, whether I'm making big life decisions or navigating day-to-day challenges. And I've found that the more I trust my intuition, the more it leads me towards opportunities and experiences that truly light me up and align with my purpose. Of course, listening to your gut instincts doesn't mean that every decision will be easy or that you'll never face obstacles or setbacks. But it does mean that you'll be living in alignment with your deepest values and desires, and that you'll have the resilience and inner strength to weather any challenges that come your way. So, if you're facing a decision or situation that's causing you to question your gut instincts, I encourage you to take a step back and tune into that inner wisdom. Ask yourself what feels right and true for you, even if it goes against what others are telling you or what seems like the logical choice. And remember, your gut instincts are uniquely yours. What feels right for someone else may not be the right path for you, and that's okay. Trust that your inner compass is guiding you towards the people, experiences, and opportunities that are meant for you. As you practice listening to your gut instincts more and more, you may find that they start to become clearer and stronger. You may notice patterns or themes in the types of situations that trigger your intuition, or in the ways that your body and mind signal that something is off. Pay attention to those signals and honor them as valuable information. If something feels consistently off or unsettling, even if you can't quite put your finger on why, that's a sign that it may be time to make a change or seek out a different path. And if you do make a decision based on your gut instincts and it doesn't turn out the way you hoped, don't beat yourself up or second guess your intuition. Remember that every experience, even the challenging ones, is an opportunity for growth and learning. Trust that your gut instincts are always guiding you towards your highest good, even if the path is winding or the destination isn't clear. And know that the more you listen to and act on your intuition, the more you'll start to see evidence of its wisdom and power in your life. As I close out this speech, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your gut instincts are a gift, a powerful tool for navigating the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience. They are a reminder that you have an inner compass, a source of wisdom and guidance that is always available to you. But like any gift, your gut instincts require care and attention to flourish. They require you to create space in your life for stillness and reflection, to tune out the noise and distractions of the outside world and tune into the voice within. So make time each day to connect with your intuition, whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply taking a few deep breaths and checking in with yourself. Ask yourself what you need, what feels right and true for you, and what small steps you can take to honor those instincts. And as you move through your day, pay attention to the subtle cues and nudges that your gut instincts are sending you. Maybe it's a feeling of excitement or energy when you think about a certain opportunity, or a sense of unease or discomfort when you're in a situation that doesn't feel quite right. Trust those feelings and use them as a guide for making decisions and taking action. Remember that your gut instincts are not something to be ignored or pushed aside, but rather a valuable tool for creating a life that truly feels authentic and fulfilling to you. And if you ever find yourself doubting your instincts or questioning your path, come back to this simple truth: you are wise, you are capable, and you have everything you need within you to create the life you desire. Your gut instincts are a reflection of that inner wisdom, and the more you listen to and trust them, the more you'll start to see evidence of their power and potential in your life. So my final challenge to you is this: make a commitment to listening to your gut instincts, even when it's hard or uncomfortable. Make a commitment to honoring your inner wisdom and using it as a guide for navigating the twists and turns of life. And most importantly, make a commitment to trusting yourself and your ability to create a life that truly sets your soul on fire. Because when you do, there's no limit to what you can achieve or the impact you can make in the world. Thank you for listening today, and remember, your gut instincts are your superpower. Trust them, honor them, and let them guide you towards a life that is truly extraordinary. Now, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that listening to your gut instincts is not always easy, especially in a world that often values logic and reason over intuition and emotion. We're taught from a young age to rely on facts and figures, to make decisions based on what we can see and measure and quantify. And while there's certainly value in that approach, it can also lead us to dismiss or override our intuition, even when it's trying to tell us something important. I know that for many of us, the idea of trusting our gut instincts can feel risky or even irresponsible. We worry that we'll make the wrong choice, or that we'll be judged or criticized by others for following our hearts instead of our heads. But here's the thing, your gut instincts are not some woo-woo-woo, airy-fairy concept with no basis in reality. In fact, there's a growing body of scientific research that suggests that our intuition is actually a highly sophisticated and intelligent system, one that draws on a vast array of information and experiences to help us make better decisions and navigate complex situations. Studies have shown that our gut instincts are often the result of unconscious processing in the brain, a lightning-fast analysis of patterns and cues that we may not even be aware of on a conscious level. This means that when we have a gut feeling about something, it's not just a random hunch or a fleeting emotion, it's a signal from our deepest wisdom and intelligence, a message from the part of us that knows what we need to thrive and flourish. So when you find yourself doubting your gut instincts or questioning whether you should really trust that inner voice, remember this, your intuition is not some fluffy, ungrounded notion, it's a powerful and valuable tool. One that you can learn to harness and use to create a life that truly feels authentic and fulfilling to you. Of course, that doesn't mean that following your gut instincts will always be easy or comfortable. There will be times when your intuition leads you in a direction that feels scary or uncertain, times when you'll have to take a leap of faith and trust that the path will reveal itself as you go. But here's what I've learned from my own experience and from the stories of countless others who have followed their gut instincts. The rewards of trusting your intuition are always worth the risk. When you learn to listen to and honor your gut instincts, you start to align yourself with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. You start to make choices that feel true to who you are and what you value, rather than just going through the motions or doing what you think you should do. And as you start to live in alignment with your intuition, you may find that opportunities and experiences start to flow into your life with greater ease and abundance. It's as if the universe conspires to support you when you're following your inner compass, opening doors and clearing paths that you never could have anticipated or planned for. Now, I'm not saying that following your gut instincts will make life perfect or problem-free. There will still be challenges and obstacles to navigate, moments of doubt and uncertainty to work through. But when you learn to trust your intuition and use it as a guide, you develop a greater sense of resilience and adaptability. You know that no matter what life throws your way, you have the inner resources and wisdom to handle it with grace and courage. So as you go forward from this moment, I invite you to make a commitment to listening to and honoring your gut instincts, even when it feels challenging or uncomfortable. I invite you to create space in your life for stillness and reflection, to tune into the voice within and allow it to guide you towards your deepest desires and highest potential. And most of all, I invite you to trust yourself and your ability to create a life that feels truly authentic and fulfilling to you. Because when you do, there's no limit to what you can achieve or the impact you can make in the world. Remember, your gut instincts are a gift, a powerful tool for navigating the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience. They are a reminder that you have everything you need within you to thrive and flourish, no matter what challenges or opportunities come your way. So listen to that inner voice, trust its wisdom and guidance, and know that every time you honor your gut instincts, you are taking a step towards a life that is truly extraordinary. Thank you for being here today, and remember, your intuition is your superpower. Use it wisely, trust it deeply, and let it guide you towards a future that is even better than you can imagine. All right, let's dive into this powerful message that I want to share with you today. Picture this, you're on your deathbed looking back at your life and reflecting on the choices you made. What will you regret? What will you wish you had done differently? I've spent decades studying the human condition, and I've discovered that there are 4 things you should never sacrifice for anyone, no matter what. These are the keys to living a life of purpose, passion, and fulfillment. First and foremost, never sacrifice your dreams. Your dreams are the very essence of who you are. They are the sparks that ignite your soul and give your life meaning. When you were a child, you had big dreams. You wanted to be an astronaut, a doctor, an artist, or maybe even change the world. But somewhere along the way, life happened. People told you to be realistic, to settle for less. They said your dreams were too big, too impractical. And slowly you started to believe them. You started to shrink your dreams to fit into the tiny box that society handed you. But let me tell you something, your dreams are not meant to fit into anyone else's box. They are meant to be pursued with every fiber of your being, no matter how impossible they may seem. Think about the great dreamers of our time. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream of racial equality in a time when segregation was the norm. Nelson Mandela had a dream of a free South Africa, even as he spent 27 years in prison. Steve Jobs had a dream of putting a computer in every home, back when computers were the size of a room. These people didn't let anyone tell them their dreams were too big. They pursued them relentlessly, and they changed the world in the process. And you have that same power within you. Your dreams matter, and they deserve to be pursued. But pursuing your dreams isn't easy. It requires sacrifice, hard work, and a willingness to face your fears. And that brings me to the second thing: you should never sacrifice your courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. It's the voice inside you that says, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. When you live courageously, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities. You try new things, take risks, and push yourself beyond your comfort zone. You become the kind of person who makes things happen rather than waiting for things to happen to you. Think about a time when you were courageous. Maybe it was speaking up for someone who was being bullied, even though you were afraid of being targeted yourself. Maybe it was quitting a job you hated to pursue your passion, even though you had no safety net. Maybe it was asking someone out on a date, even though you were terrified of rejection. In those moments of courage, you grew. You became stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And you learned that you are capable of so much more than you ever imagined. But courage isn't just about taking big leaps. It's also about the small daily choices we make. It's about choosing kindness over cruelty, even when it's hard. It's about standing up for what you believe in, even when it's unpopular. It's about being true to yourself, even when the world is telling you to be someone else. When you live with courage, you become a beacon of light in a world that can sometimes feel very dark. Which brings me to the third thing: you should never sacrifice your integrity. Integrity is about being honest, authentic, and true to your values. Even when no one is watching, it's about doing the right thing, even when it's hard. When you live with integrity, you build trust with others and with yourself. You become a person of your word, someone who can be counted on to do what you say you'll do. Think about a time when you were faced with a choice between doing what was easy and doing what was right. Maybe it was returning a lost wallet, even though you could have kept the money inside. Maybe it was admitting to a mistake at work, even though it could have cost you your job. Maybe it was telling the truth, even when a lie would have been more convenient. In those moments of integrity, you built character. You became someone who could look in the mirror and be proud of the person staring back at you. But integrity isn't just about the big choices. It's also about the small, daily actions that define who we are. It's about being kind to the barista who messed up your coffee order, even though you're in a hurry. It's about giving your full attention to the person in front of you, even though your phone is buzzing with notifications. It's about doing your best work, even when no one is there to see it. When you live with integrity, you become a person of substance, someone who leaves the world a little better than you found it. And that brings me to the fourth and final thing: you should never sacrifice your relationships. Relationships are the very fabric of our lives. They are what give our lives meaning, purpose, and joy. When you prioritize your relationships, you create a life that is rich in love, connection, and belonging. You surround yourself with people who lift you up, support you, and believe in you. But building strong relationships isn't always easy. It requires vulnerability, communication, and a willingness to put others first. It means being there for your loved ones, even when it's inconvenient. It means listening with empathy and compassion, even when you disagree. It means apologizing when you've made a mistake and forgiving when others have hurt you. When you prioritize your relationships, you create a life that is filled with meaning and purpose. Think about the relationships that matter most to you. Maybe it's your spouse who has been by your side through thick and thin. Maybe it's your children who look up to you as their role model and hero. Maybe it's your friends who know you better than anyone else and love you unconditionally. These relationships are the very foundation of your life. They are what will sustain you through the ups and downs, the triumphs and the challenges. But it's not just about the relationships you already have. It's also about the relationships you have yet to build. Every person you meet is an opportunity for connection, for growth, for learning. When you approach others with an open heart and a curious mind, you never know what kind of magic might happen. You might meet a mentor who changes the course of your career. You might make a new friend who becomes a lifelong confidant. You might even fall in love with someone who makes your heart skip a beat. So my friend, never sacrifice your relationships for anything or anyone. Cherish the people in your life and make time for them every single day. Pick up the phone and call your mom just to say hi. Send a text to your best friend just to let them know you're thinking of them. Plan a date night with your partner just to reconnect and rekindle the spark. These small acts of love and connection are what make life worth living. As I look out at all of you today, I see a room full of people with incredible potential. You have dreams that are waiting to be pursued, courage that is waiting to be unleashed, integrity that is waiting to be lived, and relationships that are waiting to be cherished. But it's up to you to make the choice. Will you sacrifice these things for the sake of fitting in, playing it safe, or pleasing others? Or will you hold on to them with everything you've got, no matter what life throws your way? I've been where you are. I've faced my own moments of choice, my own fears and doubts and insecurities. But every time I've chosen to stay true to my dreams, my courage, my integrity, and my relationships, I've been rewarded with a life that is more beautiful than I ever could have imagined. And I want that same thing for you. So let me leave you with this final thought. Your life is a precious gift, one that is meant to be lived to the fullest. Don't waste it by sacrificing the things that matter most. Pursue your dreams with passion and determination. Live with courage, even when it's scary. Act with integrity, even when no one is watching. And cherish your relationships, even when it's hard. If you do these things, I promise you that you will look back on your life with no regrets. You will know that you lived a life that was true to who you are. A life that made a difference in the world. And that, my friend, is the greatest legacy you can leave behind. Let me share with you a story from my own life that illustrates the power of never sacrificing your dreams. When I was a young man, I had a dream of becoming a teacher. I wanted to make a difference in the lives of students, to help them see their own potential and live up to it. But when I told my family and friends about my dream, they were skeptical. They said that teaching was a noble profession, but it wouldn't pay the bills. They encouraged me to pursue a more lucrative career like law or medicine. For a while, I listened to them. I started down the path of becoming a lawyer, even though my heart wasn't in it. I studied hard, got good grades, and landed a job at a prestigious law firm. But every day, I felt like I was dying a little inside. I was sacrificing my dream for the sake of practicality, and it was eating away at me. One day I hit a breaking point. I was sitting in my office, staring at a stack of legal briefs, and I realized that I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't spend my life doing something that didn't light me up inside. So I quit my job, enrolled in a teaching program, and never looked back. Was it easy? No, I had to take a huge pay cut, live on a tight budget, and work long hours. But every day I woke up excited to go to work. I felt like I was making a real difference in the lives of my students. And as the years went by, I watched them grow and thrive and become incredible human beings. Some of them even came back to thank me years later for believing in them when no one else did. That experience taught me a powerful lesson. When you have a dream, you have to pursue it with everything you've got. You can't let anyone else tell you what you're capable of or what you should be doing with your life. You have to trust your own inner voice, your own sense of purpose and passion. And that brings me to another story, one that speaks to the power of courage. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. It was a terrifying moment, one that shook me to my core. I was faced with a choice. I could let the fear consume me, or I could face it head-on with courage and determination. I chose courage. I underwent round after round of chemotherapy, even when it left me weak and exhausted. I faced each day with a positive attitude, even when the pain was unbearable. And I leaned on the love and support of my family and friends, even when I felt like I had nothing left to give. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the most transformative. Through that experience, I learned that I was stronger than I ever knew. I learned that I could face my deepest fears and come out the other side. And I learned that when we have the courage to confront the challenges in our lives, we open ourselves up to a world of possibility and growth. That's what I want for all of you. I want you to have the courage to face your fears, to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone. I want you to have the courage to be yourselves even when the world is telling you to be someone else. And I want you to have the courage to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's hard. Because when you live with courage, you become unstoppable. You become a force to be reckoned with, someone who can overcome any obstacle and achieve any goal. And that, my friends, is a life worth living. But courage alone isn't enough. You also need integrity, the third thing you should never sacrifice. Integrity is about being true to yourself and your values, even when it's difficult. It's about doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. And it's about being honest, authentic, and transparent in all your dealings. I learned the importance of integrity the hard way. Early in my career, I was working for a company that was engaging in some unethical practices. They were cutting corners, lying to customers, and prioritizing profits over people. And for a while, I went along with it. I told myself that it wasn't my responsibility, that I was just following orders. But deep down, I knew it was wrong. I knew that I was compromising my integrity for the sake of a paycheck. And it was eating away at me, just like sacrificing my dream of teaching had eaten away at me years before. So once again, I made a choice. I quit my job, even though I didn't have another one lined up. I blew the whistle on the company's unethical practices, even though it meant burning bridges and making enemies. And I started over, this time with a commitment to always do the right thing, no matter what. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. By living with integrity, I was able to look myself in the mirror every day and feel proud of the person staring back at me. I was able to build trust with others because they knew that I would always be honest and truthful. And I was able to create a life that was aligned with my values and my sense of purpose. That's what I want for all of you. I want you to live with integrity, to be true to yourselves and your values. I want you to do the right thing, even when it's hard. And I want you to be honest, authentic, and transparent in all your dealings. Because when you live with integrity, you become a person of substance. You become someone who can be trusted, admired, and respected. And you become someone who leaves a positive legacy in the world. And that brings me to the final thing: you should never sacrifice your relationships. Relationships are the very heart of the human experience. They give our lives meaning, purpose, and joy. And they are what will sustain us through the ups and downs of life. I've been blessed with many incredible relationships in my life. My wife, my children, my friends, my colleagues, they have all played a vital role in shaping who I am today. They have supported me, challenged me, and loved me unconditionally. And they have taught me the true meaning of connection and belonging. But building strong relationships takes work. It requires time, effort, and a willingness to be vulnerable. It means being there for others even when it's inconvenient. It means listening with empathy and compassion even when we disagree. And it means apologizing when we've made mistakes and forgiving when others have hurt us. I know that it can be tempting to put relationships on the back burner, especially when we're busy chasing our dreams or building our careers. But let me tell you something: no amount of success or achievement can replace the love and connection we get from our relationships. At the end of the day, it's the people in our lives that matter most. So make time for your relationships. Prioritize them, cherish them, and invest in them. Pick up the phone and call your mom just to say hi. Send a text to your best friend just to let them know you're thinking of them. Plan a date night with your partner just to reconnect and rekindle the spark. These small acts of love and connection are what make life worth living. And don't be afraid to build new relationships too. Every person you meet is an opportunity for growth, learning, and connection. When you approach others with an open heart and a curious mind, you never know what kind of magic might happen. You might meet a mentor who changes the course of your career. You might make a new friend who becomes a lifelong confidant. You might even fall in love with someone who makes your heart skip a beat. Because here's the thing: we are all interconnected. We are all part of the same human family, the same web of life. And when we prioritize our relationships, we create a world that is more loving, more compassionate, and more connected. So my friends, never sacrifice your relationships for anything or anyone. Hold on to them with everything you've got, no matter what life throws your way. Because at the end of the day, it's the people we love that make life worth living. As I look out at all of you today, I am filled with hope and inspiration. I see a room full of people with incredible gifts, talents, and potential. You have the power to create lives that are rich in meaning, purpose, and joy. You have the power to pursue your dreams, live with courage and integrity, and cherish your relationships. But it's up to you to make the choice. Will you sacrifice these things for the sake of fitting in, playing it safe, or pleasing others? Or will you hold on to them with everything you've got, no matter what? I know that it's not always easy. Life can be challenging, scary, and overwhelming at times. But I also know that when we stay true to ourselves and our values, when we surround ourselves with people who lift us up and believe in us, anything is possible. So let me leave you with this final thought. Your life is a precious gift, one that is meant to be lived to the fullest. Don't waste it by sacrificing the things that matter most. Pursue your dreams with passion and determination. Live with courage, even when it's scary. Act with integrity, even when no one is watching. And cherish your relationships, even when it's hard. If you do these things, I promise you that you will look back on your life with no regrets. You will know that you lived a life that was true to who you are, a life that made a difference in the world. And that, my friends, is the greatest legacy you can leave behind. So go out there and live your best life. Dream big, be brave, stay true, and love hard. The world is waiting for you to make your mark, and I can't wait to see all the incredible things you will achieve. Thank you. Have you ever been told that kindness is a virtue? That being kind will bring you happiness, success, and fulfillment? Well, I'm here to tell you that kindness can actually ruin your life. Yes, you heard me right. Kindness can be your downfall. Let me explain how. First, when you're too kind, people start to take advantage of you. They see your kindness as a weakness, and they'll exploit it for their own gain. They'll ask for favors, borrow money, and expect you to drop everything to help them. And because you're kind, you'll say yes, even when it's inconvenient or detrimental to your own well-being. You'll find yourself stretched thin, exhausted, and resentful, all because you couldn't say no. I've seen it happen time and time again. People who are too kind end up being taken for granted. They're the ones who are always there for others, but when they need help themselves, no one is around. They give and give until they have nothing left to give, and then they're left alone and empty. But it's not just about being taken advantage of. When you're too kind, you also miss out on opportunities to stand up for yourself and assert your own needs. You're so busy putting others first that you forget about your own dreams and goals. You sacrifice your own happiness for the sake of others, and in the end, you're left with nothing but regrets. Second, kindness can make you a pushover. When you're always putting others' needs before your own, you send a message that your own needs don't matter. People will start to expect you to agree with them, to go along with their plans, and to never rock the boat. They'll see you as someone who can be easily manipulated and controlled. And when you do try to assert yourself, people will be shocked and offended. They'll accuse you of being selfish or unkind because they've come to expect you to always put their needs first. They'll guilt trip you into submission, and you'll find yourself right back where you started, a doormat for others to walk all over. I know it's hard to break out of this pattern. It feels good to be liked and appreciated, and it's tempting to keep doing what others expect of you. But in the long run, it's not sustainable. You'll end up feeling resentful, unfulfilled, and even angry. You'll start to question why you're always the one making sacrifices, and you'll wonder what your life would be like if you put yourself first for once. Third, kindness can hold you back from success. In today's cutthroat world, nice guys often finish last. To get ahead, you need to be assertive, competitive, and sometimes even ruthless. You need to be willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, and to put your own interests first. But when you're too kind, you're often hesitant to do these things. You don't want to step on anyone's toes or hurt anyone's feelings. You don't want to be seen as aggressive or selfish. So you hold back, you play it safe, and you miss out on opportunities to advance your career or achieve your goals. I've seen so many talented, hardworking people get passed over for promotions or big breaks because they were too nice. They didn't want to rock the boat or ruffle any feathers, so they stayed quiet and let others take the credit. They didn't want to be seen as cutthroat or competitive, so they didn't go after what they really wanted. But here's the thing, success isn't handed out based on who's the nicest. It's earned through hard work, determination, and a willingness to take risks. If you're always putting others first and sacrificing your own ambitions, you'll never reach your full potential. You'll always be held back by your own kindness. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, kindness can prevent you from being honest and authentic. When you're too focused on being kind and not hurting anyone's feelings, you start to censor yourself. You hold back your true thoughts and opinions, and you present a watered-down version of yourself to the world. But here's the thing people can sense when you're not being genuine. They can tell when you're holding back or sugarcoating the truth, and over time, they start to lose trust in you. They start to wonder what you really think and feel, and they question whether they can rely on you to be honest with them. Moreover, when you're constantly suppressing your true self in the name of kindness, you start to lose touch with who you really are. You become disconnected from your own thoughts, feelings, and desires. You start to feel like a fraud, like you're living someone else's life instead of your own. And that's no way to live. It's exhausting, unfulfilling, and ultimately unsustainable. You can't be truly happy or successful if you're not being true to yourself. You can't build deep, meaningful relationships if you're not being honest and authentic. So what's the solution? How can you avoid the pitfalls of kindness while still being a good person? The answer is simple: balance. You need to find a way to be kind and compassionate while also setting boundaries and taking care of yourself. That means learning to say no when you need to, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. It means speaking up for yourself and asserting your own needs and desires, even if it means ruffling a few feathers. It means being honest and authentic, even if it means having difficult conversations or facing some conflict. It's not easy, I know. It takes practice and courage to break out of the pattern of overkindness, but trust me, it's worth it. When you learn to balance kindness with self-care and authenticity, you'll be amazed at how much better your life becomes. You'll have more energy and enthusiasm for the things that matter to you. You'll build deeper, more meaningful relationships with people who truly value and respect you. You'll achieve more success and fulfillment in your career and personal life. And most importantly, you'll feel more at peace with yourself and the world around you. So don't let kindness ruin your life. Learn to be kind in a way that nurtures and supports your own well-being. Set boundaries, speak your truth, and take care of yourself first. Because at the end of the day, the greatest kindness you can show to the world is to be the best, most authentic version of yourself. And that, my friends, is how kindness can ruin your life if you're not careful. But it doesn't have to be that way. With a little wisdom and a lot of courage, you can learn to be kind in a way that empowers and uplifts you. So go out there and be kind, but remember to be kind to yourself first, because when you do that, everything else will fall into place. Let me share a personal story with you. When I was younger, I used to be the epitome of kindness. I would go out of my way to help others, even if it meant sacrificing my own time, energy, and resources. I thought that being kind would make me happy and fulfilled, but instead it left me feeling drained and resentful. I remember one particular instance where a friend asked me to help them move. I had my own plans that weekend, but I didn't want to let them down. So I canceled my plans and spent the entire weekend lugging heavy boxes and furniture up and down stairs. By the end of it, I was exhausted and sore, and I felt like I had wasted my precious free time. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that my friend didn't even seem particularly grateful. They thanked me briefly, but then they went on with their life as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, I was left feeling used and unappreciated. That experience was a wake-up call for me. I realized that I had been so focused on being kind to others that I had neglected to be kind to myself. I had put everyone else's needs before my own, and as a result, I was burning out. From that moment on, I started to make a conscious effort to balance my kindness with self-care. I started saying no to requests that didn't align with my own priorities and values. I started setting boundaries with people who tried to take advantage of my kindness. And I started being more honest and authentic in my interactions with others. It wasn't easy at first. I felt guilty and selfish for putting my own needs first. I worried that people would think I was unkind or uncaring. But as I continued to practice this new way of being, I started to see the benefits. I had more energy and enthusiasm for the things that mattered to me. I felt more confident and self-assured in my interactions with others. And perhaps most importantly, I started attracting people into my life who appreciated and respected me for who I truly was. One of the biggest lessons I learned through this process was the importance of setting boundaries. I realized that being kind didn't mean saying yes to everything and everyone. In fact, sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to say no. When you set boundaries, you're communicating to others what you will and will not tolerate. You're telling them that you value yourself and your own needs and that you expect to be treated with respect and consideration. And when you do that, you create space for healthier, more balanced relationships in your life. Of course, setting boundaries isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable and even scary at times. But the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And the payoff is well worth the effort. Another important lesson I learned was the power of authenticity. When you're too focused on being kind and pleasing others, it's easy to lose sight of who you really are. You start to mold yourself into what you think others want you to be rather than being true to yourself. But here's the thing people can sense when you're not being genuine. They can tell when you're holding back or pretending to be someone you're not. And over time, that lack of authenticity can erode trust and connection in your relationships. On the other hand, when you're honest and authentic, you create space for real, meaningful connection. You allow others to see the real you, flaws and all. And when you do that, you build deeper, more intimate relationships based on trust and mutual understanding. Of course, being authentic doesn't mean being rude or insensitive. It's important to balance honesty with tact and compassion. But it does mean speaking your truth even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. Ultimately, the key to avoiding the pitfalls of kindness is to find a balance between taking care of others and taking care of yourself. It's about learning to be kind in a way that feels authentic and sustainable rather than draining and depleting. And the good news is, when you do that, everyone benefits. When you take care of yourself first, you have more energy and resources to give to others. When you set healthy boundaries, you create space for more fulfilling and reciprocal relationships. And when you're honest and authentic, you inspire others to do the same. So if you're someone who struggles with being too kind for your own good, I encourage you to start small. Start by saying no to one request that doesn't align with your priorities. Start by setting one boundary with someone who tends to take advantage of your kindness. Start by being honest about one thing that you've been holding back. And as you continue to practice these new ways of being, be patient with yourself. Remember that change takes time, and there will be moments of discomfort and even resistance along the way. But trust that by being kind to yourself first, you're ultimately being kind to everyone else in your life as well. Because here's the truth, the world needs more kindness, but it also needs more people who are willing to be kind to themselves. It needs more people who are willing to set boundaries, speak their truth, and take care of their own needs. And when we all start doing that, we create a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond ourselves. So go out there and be kind, but remember to be kind to yourself first. Remember that your own needs and desires matter just as much as anyone else's. And remember that by taking care of yourself, you're ultimately taking care of the world around you as well. And if you ever find yourself feeling guilty or selfish for putting yourself first, just remember this: the greatest gift you can give to the world is a happy, healthy, authentic version of yourself. So don't be afraid to prioritize your own well-being, even if it means ruffling a few feathers along the way. Because at the end of the day, kindness isn't about being perfect or pleasing everyone around you. It's about being true to yourself and treating others with compassion and respect. And when you learn to balance those two things, you'll find that kindness becomes a source of strength and empowerment rather than a burden or a weakness. So let's all commit to being kind in a way that feels authentic and sustainable. Let's set boundaries, speak our truth, and take care of ourselves first. And let's trust that by doing so, we're creating a world that is kinder, more compassionate, and more connected than ever before. Thank you for listening to my story and my thoughts on this topic. I hope that my words have resonated with you in some way and that you'll take them to heart as you navigate your own journey with kindness. Remember, you matter just as much as anyone else, and your own needs and desires are valid and important. So be kind to yourself and watch as that kindness ripples out into the world around you. Thank you.